Hello and welcome back to Method Muse, where we talk about science-based manifestation methods and concepts. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're into this topic. Let's get started. Today we're talking about resetting emotional programs before setting intentions. So we are survival systems. Our emotions are a function, a feature of our survival systems. Alexithymia is a word that is basically like a personality trait where someone doesn't have the words to name and identify what they're feeling. I'm a very emotional person. Most people would perceive that as being a bad thing for somebody to say that they're a very emotional person, because in the emergent properties of society, being emotional or, having to need some time to process your emotions wasn't a thing. We didn't have time. We were trying to stay alive. We didn't have as much time to focus on our feelings. Alternately, we were more in touch with our emotions back then than we are now, which is weird, because while we didn't have the words for it, we had the actions that matched our emotions better. In the current society, because of the way it's structured, it's kind of unnatural. It actually started back when we started farming. Farming was not very good for humans. We did it out of necessity because, hunter gathering, we didn't hunt as much as, we gathered. We always gathered more, but it was always far apart. So gathering for one person meant going like hundreds of acres of land, right? Whereas we could compress the 100 acres and feed 100 people if we farmed. So it was really a numbers game. And it wasn't like men farmed and women gathered. It wasn't like men hunted and women gathered. Yes, men hunted sometimes. Sometimes women did too. But everybody gathered. Everybody did. Everybody gathered mushrooms or berries or plants or anything that humans could actually use. But most of that foliage is not something humans can eat, right? So getting food from the gathering perspective was a lot harder. When we started hunting more and started overhunting, that was okay for a short while because we were getting more nutrients, but at the same time we were overhunting the population and eventually destroying ourselves, right? Which is why we have hunting licenses now, so we don't overhunt with our apex predator selves. But you know, grounding emotions is not just about naming them. And it is important to be able to name them currently in our society because they are sensations that we throw weird random interpretations to that don't apply to what our survival was back in the day. I like to use the email thing because I've had nasty emails from people or bosses or text messages or something like that that just completely set my nervous system off, right? And this happens to everybody all the time. Or you see a news program, right? These are not immediate existential threats. Marketing, not an immediate existential threat that you don't have the latest car, right? But it feels like it is because it's actually been engineered to make you feel emotions. And if you don't recognize and understand your emotions, they're easily manipulated because they're so reactive. Emotions evolved for social ends. Because we are social, we need emotions to tell us what's going on internally and externally with other people, right? So if we feel bad about something we did or said to someone, that emotion actually uses the same pain receptors as physical pain. So often you will feel it like in your guts or in your chest. Maybe there's like a burning or your heart is pounding. You will have a physical reaction based on the hormones that emotion caused. And the emotion usually starts like in your gut first, right? Your gut has this whole other brain that communicates with your conscious brain. It even has neurons in there, right? So a gut feeling, an intuitive feeling is a real thing. So learning how to interpret things accurately to notice when something is just a trigger that went off on a false positive, or when something is really needs your attention and you need to address it, either within yourself or with your environment, with other people, systems, you know. But it does keep groups cohesive. It keeps you cohesive, operating optimally, normally, right? But when you ground these emotions, feeling into them and recognizing, am I safe right now? Am I in immediate danger right now? Reduces the sensation, because then your brain consciously realizes, okay, there's no lion, there's no impending doom. I'm not being ostracized from the group. I'm not being, even if you were fired from your job, it's not going to be the end. You can find another job. You can work out resources. This is where you work with your own system to recognize your body's communication. And the more that you can name the emotions, good. But if you just can't find the word for it, try to tag the sensation itself. Where do I feel this in my body? This is body communication. This is your body identity talking to you. And body identity leads the charge when it comes to manifesting. You manifest through your body first, because your body's survival system is dominant to your conscious mind. Identity is new. Body identity is not. Survival systems are as ancient as humans have existed. And our identities really just help us socially move around and know what we're going to do and how to deal with other people, because we constantly have to deal with other people's systems. We need to know whether that system is going to be safe and to try to make it predictable to, or even just rewarding, is there any point in interacting with that system? Are we getting anything out of it? Right? So checking in with your body, feeling in with your emotions fully. And that means sitting with the uncomfortable ones and recognizing they don't mean anything bad about you. So many early programs in the structure of the Matrix. And I get it, because people are mostly focused on like a meritocracy. You have to prove that you're good enough to survive, that you're going to work with the group, that, well, the group doesn't want to carry you. That's part of it. They don't want somebody who's going to lay around the camp all day and do nothing. I mean, if they're drawing on the ground and they're making some really interesting art, then they're doing something that's useful to the group, right? So this is part of why your identity forms, to figure out what your standing in the group is, what your contribution is to the group, to yourself, to the success of the greater system as a whole. But now everything is very different, but our bodies and minds don't know that. So feeling into emotion most of the time now means identifying false positives that there's real danger. And doing that can help you, make your nervous system more open to new things, because it knows that you will talk to it. Basically, it knows you won't ignore signals of danger or fear, which is emotional stuffing. And those emotions don't go anywhere. They stay in your body. Those hormones get processed as stress hormones, and they get stored in your fat cells. And it's really bad. They cause inflammation. I mean, stress is still like the number one killer amongst the world because of all the medical problems that it causes to be constantly stressed out. So what you want is not necessarily a nervous system that doesn't get triggered, but one that gets back to baseline quickly. You want to reduce triggers if you can, but the main thing is to be with yourself, to be with your body, to be in the experience and not resisting it because of some interpretation of it meaning that you're bad or shameful. Because, when you manifest from that place, you can get exactly what you want and still be miserable. You got to get to the internal experience first if you want to really enjoy anything you manifest. Because otherwise, the second you have it, your brain just acclimates. It's like, oh, yep, I've always had this. This seems normal and everything, but you're still miserable and you're not happy. And then you just raise the bar to try to find something else to make you feel a little bit better, right? And all the time, you could just feel into it, recognize it, say, I see this sensation, I see this message, I see this communication, and I'll decide what to do with it. Then your body's going to learn to trust you more, your conscious self, right? Most people are consciously very disconnected from their bodies. We think that our bodies are decoration. We think that they're flashiness to show off to other people, to get a status. I don't even know what else. Our bodies are our ship in a sea of particles. Okay. They're the ship, the seat of our consciousness. They're everything that we experience begins in our bodies. These things are magic. And they have their own identities. They have their own thoughts, their own ways of communicating, much differently than the conscious mind or identity. So getting to know your body, getting in touch with it, letting you know you love it, taking care of your body as much as possible. This is going to help you manifest faster. And emotions are a big part of that. Because emotions are the messages, they're the messengers. Hey, something is happening. Communicate with us. Tell us what to do, or we're just going to do whatever. Because if you get an amygdala hijack because your emotions are really high, your body's just going to run survival protocols, fight, flight, freeze, whatever it is. And it ends up being a big chaotic mess, usually. I mean, sometimes it works out, but most of the time it becomes chaos and you end up conflicting with other systems and then you're really unhappy and then get mad at yourself and you don't know why. And yeah, this is why, because we're highly automated, but we're also highly programmed and we can reprogram ourselves. And part of that is being with ourselves and feeling into those emotional programs, recognizing them, seeing our patterns of emotion and what triggers them. What in the environment is triggering this feeling over and over and over again if it's an uncomfortable feeling, or if it's a good feeling, how can I keep reproducing that, right? So I hope this has helped you to understand a little bit more about emotional programs and how they work, how they affect your manifestations. And when you're setting intentions, make sure to address any emotional aspects of it that you feel immediately after setting the intention. So if you have an intention to have a boat, the first emotional feeling might be a tightness in your stomach or maybe a stiffness in your shoulders. And this could be because you thought of having a boat and because your brain didn't immediately see evidence of a boat, it dropped your dopamine levels. That can be the emotional signal that I don't have. Notice that and then start reinforcing with, oh, look at all these boats I can have. I love that I can have boats, that boats are easily accessible to anyone. I don't have to go to Mars to get a boat, right? And this helps reinforce it while also acknowledging the emotion and feeling into it. Yes, I see that you feel this. I can fully feel this and still be safe because a boat is still available to me, right? So you don't deny the emotions. Oh, this is bad. You feel into it and then pivot. See, pause, feel, pivot. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and sign up for the Method Muse newsletter in the description below.